And weather prognosticator Chad Merrill here with a look at the weather through the end of June. And on this June 18th, there's an area of low pressure across the eastern Ohio Valley that has been producing occasional downpours, and that will be the weather story for the next couple of days. But looking back at June 10th, a shelf cloud was noted by a follower. This is in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And a shelf cloud is noted with a very low cloud deck that looks like little fingers sticking out of the clouds towards the ground, almost like how a shelf comes out of a wall. And this is indicative, if you see this during the summertime, a line of heavy rain and gusty winds along the leading edge of a thunderstorm. And also, we picked up this footage from the Gaithersburg area. Some heavy rain fell on June 17th, complements of the same low pressure I pointed out in the first slide across the eastern Ohio Valley. So some much needed rain falling east of Interstate 81 to help green things up in the Gaithersburg, Maryland area. Well, let's take a look right now at the jet stream pattern, because here's the area of low pressure that is cut off from the main flow of the jet stream over the eastern Ohio Valley. That will lumber through the mid-Atlantic through Sunday, so there's going to be daily chances for rain, which is good news, especially for areas of along Interstate 95. Not so good news for West Virginia. I'll talk about that in a second. This storm system across the northern Rockies won't get here until Thursday, June 25th, because the atmosphere is in a blocky pattern where the jet stream winds aren't pushing weather systems west to east at a good clip. Now, we are not expecting widespread heavy flooding across the eastern part of the mid-Atlantic. That would include Interstate 81 to 95. The reason for that is this particular weather balloon was launched at Dulles International and shows that the amount of moisture in the atmosphere is 1.26 inches, which for the middle of June falls right near average. So we compare that precipitable water to average to determine the potential for flash flooding. And this indicates that while there will be showers, we don't expect any heavy rain that would cause flash flooding or major river flooding. The amount of rain through the end of June, again, this is not going to fall all in one day, will be 1.5 to 2 inches for much of the mid-Atlantic. The exceptions, the coast, a little bit less, 0.5 inch to 1 inch, and 2.2 to 3 inches of rain across western Pennsylvania and parts of West Virginia. What this amounts to is an elevated flash flood risk for West Virginia and western Pennsylvania due to recent heavy rain that has saturated the ground in that particular area. So, we do want to mention that the first day of summer, the summer solstice, occurs on June 20th. Meteorological summer started June 1st. The sun's direct rays are over the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, so we have the most daylight in one single day on June 20th. So summer solstice on the way, the sun highest in the sky. Another interesting thing is an African dust storm is pushing across the mid-Atlantic, or not the mid-Atlantic, it will be pushing across the Atlantic Ocean. Take a close look here. This is Africa, this is the Atlantic, this is the United States. Let's focus our attention on Western Africa. These are aerosol particles in the atmosphere, and notice we've had a big increase over the last couple of weeks, and this particular plume is actually moving off the coast into the Atlantic. The trade winds will pick it up and move it towards the Gulf of Mexico probably in about a week or so. And what this means is all this dust particles will limit the ability for tropical storms to develop through the end of June, but under clear skies at dusk and daybreak makes for beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So that's an interesting feature. We'll have to pay attention over the next 2 weeks as that ash plume, not ash, but as that dust plume moves across the Atlantic. Yearly precipitation above average for much of the interior parts of the mid-Atlantic. A couple of spots between the mountains of western Maryland and western Pennsylvania into eastern Pennsylvania have seen slightly above average rainfall. We've only had a shortage of rain across northern Pennsylvania and southeast parts of Virginia. So because we've had such a surplus in this particular zone I'm highlighting right here, and we expect 2.2 to 3 inches through the rest of the month, there will be an occasional day or two where there could be an elevated flash flood risk. Log on to almanack.com to order your 2020 Almanack or sign up for Friends of the Almanack in digital format. Have a great week.